Hello guys, welcome to the trading Parrot. Binance, Quant, TRON, and Binary X are 4 coins that are currently showing strong buy technicals. We're gonna look into the upside potential, what news are currently driving this move up, together with liquidation levels, what is the current risk of each of these moves to the downside, and a lot more. Guys, if you like this type of content, make sure that you're subscribed to the channel, hit the notification bell to get notified every time I publish one of these videos. Can we get 1,000 likes in this video about altcoins? If we can do that, we are setting on fire the YouTube algorithm, and I'm sure that that's more than enough to show it to new people. Binance coin has managed to break out on the weekly basis. We can see that thanks to that, on the RSI, we are approaching the next level of resistance, approximately at an RSI weekly of 60. This is after forming and completing the double bottom. The last time we covered Binance, we were speculating that we could be forming in this area a double bottom, going into the next confluence of the resistance and potentially seeing a breakout from there. We didn't precisely that, but the story is kind of rhyming with it because it managed to form a double bottom formation, break out the white line, and we are in progress now testing the resistance of the yellow one. That translated to price means that the price has also managed to follow through with the same. You can tell that the price did it before the RSI, which is something that I typically don't like seeing, but it managed to get beyond that point, hit the next levels of resistance 3 times. We are talking about 671, and this week potentially if we manage to hold the $672, we could be seeing continuation into 742. That will be the 4th attempt, and hopefully, crossing fingers, that's gonna be the successful one. Notice as well, looking a little bit into longer term in this area on the weekly, how many times we try to lose the $500 psychological. And I think what comes next is what people are wondering. Are we gonna be able to conquer 700 and the previous highs of 794, very close to the 800 psychological level? If we look at the longs versus shorts, I will say that we are not necessarily in an area of value, but neither we are too overextended, which is actually an opportunity. We are approaching the first percentile band, the second one is still far away at 66, and you can see that this broadening ascending wedge is hinting with a potential top at 80. That's not guaranteed, but the only valid takeaway is that there's still headroom to go, particularly considering that every time that we bounce in the area of value, in this case we got a move of 27, in here we move around 42, and so far we have moved just 13, which is only half of the moves that we have done so far. Looking at the socials, yeah, things are a little bit more noisy than usual. It got very noisy when we did a dump in here of 46% when we started that move down. I think this must have been around the times where ZZ was doing some news, some headlines, and then next time that it got really crowded at 255% of social dominance was when we were rallying back up into the $600. So for me, what's next is to pay attention on how we land at RSI 60 on the weekly if we do so in the upcoming weeks. If we do something as a rejection from 60, we're gonna look into liquidation levels next to see what are good candidates for the price to go lower to test support. If we were to see a rejection once again around $670, it wouldn't surprise me looking at the next level of support to get at the low 600, potentially around the $613. The resistance that we mentioned of RSI 60 means that the price needs to break $700 and close the weekly beyond that to actually produce a breakout above this yellow line that looks very close to the RSI. Interestingly, we don't necessarily need to do it this week. I will say that is a big significant achievement if we close beyond $670 and possibly the week after we claim 700. At that point, we get a breakout from both trend lines, ascending and descending. We've seen when we are doing TA of other coins that have managed to do that, that is happy days, definitely, when the RSI manages to get away to fully confirm the reversal. That is not the point where I enter in a position. I typically accumulate in these areas when I start sniffing that some bottom information is on the way. If I'm wrong, long IDCA down, but always around this area. The reason I look at the breakouts is to see if I can hold that position for longer and take bigger profits, benefit from a longer time swinger trade. Price approaches key resistance levels. This is coming from the news. A breakout above 670A with strong volume could signal further gains. Notice that it's two bullish news and one is bearish, and I haven't read this before doing the TA. Of course, I want to stay unbiased and I still want to read to know what other people are thinking or how they are influencing the minds of retail. There's 2 billion investment from UAE fund. Abu Dhabi's MGX fund plans a 2 billion investment in Binance, paid in stablecoins, marking a significant institutional endorsement. That's the second bullish news. And we got something in here classified as bearish. Let's see. Legal challenges from FTX. FTX has filed a 1.8 billion lawsuit against Binance and former CEO CZ over a dispute 2021 share deal, potentially impacting Binance's reputation. I also heard the news that Sam might be released from prison 4 years earlier. Looking at 3 months liquidation levels coming from CoinGlass, we can see that we have 581 level at the moment, pretty intense. That is right before we started shooting from there into almost $700. Looking for a closer level of potential incentive for market maker to come back down if we see a rejection trying to break beyond that 713 that we mentioned before, is the 626 as well. That is the largest of the past 30 days. Looking at trading different, although I have to just look at the 1 hour, there is no 4 hour or daily, so I cannot see really long term, but we're gonna find an interesting level that probably market maker is currently chasing, which is the shorts that enter around the 23rd of May that have made an intense level of liquidation from shorts, and thanks to Bitcoin still holding the ground, that is definitely helping to catch all these people in here. Let's turn on the 10x. And yeah, those were not necessarily the largest leverage traders, but those are located from this point and is definitely attracting the price at the moment. On the lower end, we have 632 in confluence with CoinGlass. Below that, we have the 582. So we get confluence of both heuristics to find those liquidation pools. Remember that there is currently still a sale on trading different. By using the link in the description, you still have some days to go to get this discount of 25%. The red liquidations are more or less at 700, so we could say that that is currently the level that we are chasing on the upper end for liquidations, and that will bring the price precisely to that RSI 60, and hopefully if the time is on our side, we can hit that level around the end of the week and stay there. If we do it now, well, we need to hold our ground so we don't end up losing once again 673, because that signals that that was just the liquidity hunt to hit those shorts at that level, trap longs too late at this end, and then drag them down to both strangle those late longs together with hitting some potential earlier longs that are around here. They are masters of doing that in a very efficient way. Let's go with the next coin. This one is called QNT. I remember trading this with trading bots a while ago. It is very volatile. It works really well with bots. And as you can see, it has had a breakout on the price and on the RSI. Let's highlight that in the chart. The breakout on the RSI was before the price. That is something good. The breakout seems very healthy still. I love placing the line like this and seeing how far we are from that support, so it's still in a very intense timing, not even looking for support just yet. The technicals are all in strong buy, and we're starting to make some news on social dominance getting into 0.44%. It's been declining. At some point around the listing, it managed to get almost to 4%, and then after 2.44 and 2.15 getting quieter, and let's see if now the socials can break out. At the moment, the top percentile is around 1 and the Bollinger Band is being pinched, suggesting that we could be seeing an expansive move in the socials as well. Being that low means that you are still a bit early on the socials. When it comes to longs versus shorts, we Cannot say that we are extremely overheated, but definitely we are not in a value area either. A value area will be to be somewhere around here at the moment. We could say that we are more or less in the median. So not too crowded, but not too quiet either. Absolutely not. So there's been recently very intense liquidation of shorts activity. You can see that most of that happened around the $80. Then we form a flag and we managed to pinch beyond $100. So from the last 3 months, there is not a lot left. Unfortunately, I cannot see beyond that. On Trading Different is not supported. The last 30 days on CoinGlass liquidation map shows some buckets at $87.8 and $96. Above the price is very quiet due to the limitations of the tool, which only shows past 30 days of price action. When it comes to the news, Quant, we have only bullish news. A breakout from inverted head and shoulders patterns. Well, I guess this is the head and shoulder that is currently about to confirm it if we hold the $100. Yeah, that's definitely a pattern that I didn't see. If we place this line in here, we could get a rally into around $145. The breakout is not yet confirmed. Remember that entering on a long intra-candle above the neckline can definitely bring back the price below and kind of suffocate the trade like it has done multiple times already. That is an area of risk, is where retail tends to chase breakouts and get disappointed after. Notice as well that we already have a breakout on the weekly, so this will be a second breakout. So, and with each additional breakout to the upside, we are increasing the risk of entering too late. Areas where the risk to reward favors a little bit more a long entry is when you are in the formation of the right shoulder. We also have positive regulatory developments in the UK, and I'm not really sure if this is a valid news. It says the UK government's move to streamline financial regulations have been welcomed by banks, potentially benefiting Quant's over Ledger platform. And the third news that is also bullish, strong market performance against all the altcoins is doing pretty well. If we divide Quant by others, we can definitely see that this is a bottoming formation and that is relative to the rest of the market doing something, right? We are forming in here some sort of shape of inverse head and shoulders that has a neckline, and it could initiate a move up to hit next levels of order blocks. Of course, this is a ratio against others. You can use it as alpha, but not as target for trading. But I can see in here Quant outperforming so far from around November 2024 the rest of others market. It is in an uptrend and is against weekly resistance. Once broken that, it can move to the next level. Let's look at levels to watch out for. Well, we already had that target to 145 from this inverse head and shoulders, but in the way we're gonna find some resistance at 120 if we are already on the way, and assuming we already closed the weekly beyond $102. Right after that, we have the highs of January and March 2024 at around $132 and the highest closing in 2023 of 148, which coincides with the target we talked about before. If now we update this Fibonacci extension, we get an extension of one more or less at 175, and let's remove the levels I don't care about. Let's just focus on golden pocket and extension of one for now. That is 175 and $250. Notice that all this area is just sideways, so it will be amazing to get out of the 200 resistance. The third coin is TRON, and TRON has done something really significant. After I sold around 0.4 my whole bag of TRON and I just left enough to be able to do transactions in the network, I'm incredibly surprised that it has managed to reclaim this area, and I can only attribute that to all the activity that there currently is around stablecoins. We know that USDT primary home is probably TRON. They also added support for USDC, so you have all stablecoins can live in this ecosystem. There's a lot more going on with TRON than just the stablecoins, but that is kind of a big selling point for the network. We have a weekly breakout on the RSI from the very highs in here. We have reclaimed the yellow line. That is fantastic. There has not been rejection to the downside. The longs are quite a bit extended and getting into the area where we should be looking for some potential profit taking when we reach the first percentile or the second one where we are extremely overheated. Last time we managed to get to 767 and before that to 76. This time we are already almost at 69 after breaking out in this direction. In terms of socials, we are also extremely overheated. Last time we managed to get to 53 cents of social dominance. At the moment we are at 51, so very close. Let's see what happened the last time this managed to hold support at 21 cents. Well, that was the beginning of the breakout. Price was coming down with high social dominance. That is not a sign for a top, it's a sign for a bottom. We can look at liquidation levels on Trading Different and we can see that there is quite a decent amount, around 28 cents. If we activate the 10x, that is still the case. So we have some decent activity at 28 and at 30, and the risk at the moment, the largest one, is located around 24. Beyond that, we have some buckets at 22 and at 21. The liquidation map on CoinGlass looks very flat at the moment. There is almost very similar activity up and down, not giving necessarily a hedge in the close proximity. We have the highest level at 26, but we also have 28 pretty heavy. Looking at the liquidation heat map, it's showing that 24 is the heaviest of the past 3 months. And in terms of news, we got just one bullish news and the rest are mixed. The bullish one says that the ETF filing and USDT dominance boost confidence. TRON's network now processes over 75 billion USDT, surpassing Ethereum, and an ETF filing has added institutional legitimacy. And apart from that, we got this mixed kind of news, neutral, we could say. Justin Sun's return to the US raises eyebrows. TRON founder Justin Sun attended a dinner with President Trump, sparking discussions about his legal issues and political connections. The third one is very ambiguous. Of course, it's just a summary extract from news everywhere, and is saying that it's trading at 27 cents, with indicators suggesting potential for both upward momentum and trend reversal risks. Well, I have to say I kind of agree with a little bit of pullback in here, since we're getting overextended in the longs and the shorts and the socials as well. I would like to see the price action to hold this support, this 26, and turn it into support actually after having broken out. We can see that we partially have done some of that, and at the moment price seems to be on the way to 31. I would say that probably in this area there has to be, at least in here, some fair value gap in the way, but we definitely also left one at 25-24 area that could be pinched at some point if there is some bearish moves in the markets. And the last coin is one that I have never covered. I'm very curious about this coin that is becoming very popular on social networks. It is listed on Lunar Crash, so we can see the socials as well. You can see a very interesting pattern in this area where we reach straight into the $400, which is the extension of this line. There's been a breakout on the weekly and it has gone straight to the top of the momentum at around 87. That is the top. At the moment we are at 85, so just 2 more points and we're gonna be as high as the beginning of this rally. We don't have delta longs and shorts, but we can see how the socials are getting heated with 21 cents of social dominance. The rally is starting to roll over in this direction. There's been a shooting start here on the weekly, so watch out for rejections at this area. I don't know how someone will want to trade this area with so much elevated risk. It says rebranding to form and price surge. The rebrand to form leading to a price increase to a new all-time high, reflecting positive market reception. So I'm not sure if it is listed somewhere else. At least if I search for binary X, I find it against Pancake Swap in decentralized exchanges. And if I go to form against USDT on Binance, it's priced at 297, which makes me think that potentially this is not the same rebranding that they're talking about in here on this news. We got 3 bullish bullish news. Token swap supported by Binance. The rebranding involved a one-to-one token swap BNX to form. Binance supporting the transition, enhancing credibility. But maybe they also changed the price, I don't know. Strong performance in Game 5 sector. Price action and indicators suggest continued bullish momentum with potential for further gains in the Game 5 space. We can find form on the liquidation heat map, but it's priced at $3, and the price action has some things in common. Let's place it in the daily time frame. It's not the same, I will say, so I'm not fully sure. So let me see what is BNX versus Form. Was originally a GameFi platform built on the BNB chain, offering infrastructure and development support for blockchain-based games. It gained traction through its play-to-earn game Cyber Dragon. It was rebranded to Form in 2024. It also aims to AI-driven applications. It aims to become a layer 1 and layer 2 hybrid. It serves as a modular gaming blockchain similar to the vision of Arbitrum, Orbit, or Avalanche subnets. This is the current allocation: 60% to play to earn rewards, 10% to team and advisors, 20% to ecosystem growth, and 10% to liquidity and treasury. And I guess most of the bullishness at the moment is coming from the support from Binance. Let me know if you know this coin, if you're trading it, if you're holding it. To be honest, it's the first time I hear about it, but it's becoming really loud in social networks. Guys, if you want to trade with $500 for free and get to keep the profits that you make with that, which is a no-brainer, have a look at my link in the description for Bybit. You can trade any of the coins in this list. Just open the link, click in register to claim, and that's it. If you want to stay away from KYC, I also have a link for the exchange Bluffin. This one, thanks to not being KYC, it means that you don't have to go through the hassle. Just 30 seconds to deposit your crypto and start trading with leverage, altcoins, and also get a 15% cashback. This particular campaign, I'm afraid, has ended. That was yesterday, so I need to put out a new campaign, but I'm sure that it's going to be as or even better than the one that I'm showing in here. And as usual, by opening an account on Bluffin and then using this link, if you meet the requirements to join my Telegram group, say hello from there, and I will grant you access to 3 months of Telegram charts and all Pine scripts for free. Thanks so much for watching. I'll see you in the next one. Take care. Bye bye.